There is an incredibly easy manifestation technique that Neville Goddard has discussed in his lectures. Yet, only a few people use it, even after hearing about it. This technique makes thinking from the end a walk in the park. So, if you are struggling to manifest your specific person and want to make it an easy process, then follow me till the end, as I am going to reveal some tricks in the video. And I even gave an example of what it looks like to think from the end at the later parts of the video. When I heard this technique for the first time, it felt like it would work, but initially it was hard for me. But once I got hold of it, things started shifting quickly and effortlessly, and almost everything I desired at that time came true. Now, the technique I am talking about is the inner conversation technique. You have probably heard it, but have you used it? Inner conversations are a fail-proof technique that can change your state of being very easily. It is the ultimate tool to land up in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. I know you have imaginary conversations all the time. Whether you go to work or are at home, you are having this conversation in your head constantly. You can be involved in arguments with people. You can be involved in complaining about things. You might be cursing the authority figures in your head, as you cannot say them out loud. You are replaying the old conversations that you had with a specific person. Maybe you are having inner conversations with people who insulted you, and you want to get even with them. You are having these conversations every day. I, too, observe myself having them. It is very natural and human to have these in your head. Almost everyone has them. Whenever you are having these conversations, you are simply imagining them, as imagination is not limited to visuals or touch. These conversations are also imaginary. So, in a way, you are always imagining one thing or another. The moment you woke up, you started having these conversations in your head. While sipping a cup of coffee, you are imagining people with whom you will have these conversations. If you work and you are running late for your workplace, you will be having these inner conversations with your boss, telling him that you got a flat tire or that there was traffic on the way. All these inner conversations change your state and become a reality for you. It is because imagination creates reality, and your words and thinking are imagination too. In one of his books, Neville Goddard said, "To think is to speak low, to speak is to think aloud." This one quote has changed the way I perceive reality. It made me realize that when we think about another, we are speaking to them in a low voice, and they are hearing me. Last night, I was sitting on my couch, and I turned on Netflix. The TV series named How to Change Your Mind popped up, and I watched the first episode. It is about state-altering banned substances and their histories. There were scenes when some chemists discovered them and tried to test them, and some humans were taking part in this study. They were on these microdoses, where they experienced the truth about consciousness. I am talking about this here because people experience themselves as a subset of a larger being, and everyone is a part of that larger being and is connected to each other. These particular scenes intrigued me, and I remembered an example that came to mind back in the days when I used to meditate. I think I have definitely discussed it in my videos, and it again got confirmed last night. My insights at that time were that we are in a web of invisible wires. Every time I think of someone or something, I send signals to them. It does not matter if they are sitting 10,000 miles away from me. It reaches them, these invisible wires connect them, and it happens quickly. The point of telling you all of this is to make you understand that your inner conversations are reaching the subjects in some strange way. So, it becomes highly important to control these inner conversations. You're not having these conversations with yourself, you're connecting with the world, and through them, you're connecting with God. These conversations are defining the conditions of your life, the circumstances, and manifesting them on the physical plane. There was a woman who was a costume designer, and she was a student of Neville. She came to Neville and discussed how unjustly his boss treated her. She was having a hard time with her boss, and she didn't like the way he would behave with her. After hearing this, Neville knew that she was engaging in mental conversations with her boss. The path of her conversations was not fruitful, and she confirmed that. She admitted that she was always confronting her boss in her mind. She was talking to his boss from the premise of injustice. After having these conversations, she would form the assumption that her boss is very rude and is a difficult person to work with. Slowly, her assumptions started becoming a fact, and every time she met her boss, he behaved rudely toward her. This costume designer was frustrated, and this became a memory that she constantly played in her mind. Upon hearing this, Neville asked her to follow his advice. He asked this lady to do the opposite of what she was doing. Instead of arguing in her mind with her boss, she now has to imagine this man congratulating her. She now has to talk from the premise of receiving praise from her boss. In her imagination, upon hearing congratulations from her boss, she has to say thank you and accept his praise. It was strange for her at first, as having lovely conversations with the person who is rude in her 3D seemed to be nonsensical. But she followed her master's advice. She disregarded the current reality, and every time her boss came into her mind, she would hear praise in her mind, and she would reply to him with thank you. It started changing her inner world. It started changing her perceptions about her boss and her inner state of being. Now the 3D being a huge mirror reflected all of this back to her. Her boss started showing her kindness, and it became easy for her to work with her boss now. He even praised her. This is the secret sauce that very few people use, but the one who uses it gets tremendous results. Like her boss, you might have a specific person who is behaving rudely or coldly toward you in your 3D reality. You might be complaining about it to your friends or in the comment sections. You are seeking advice from everyone about how to change it. If you ask me, my answer would be like Neville's. You have to change the premise of your inner conversation. Hear them saying, "I love you." Hear them telling you that you are the only one they like. Reply to them by saying that you too love them. Let it be a conversation where you are a priority. Hear them saying lovely things to you, and reply to them with kindness. The 3D doesn't matter, it shifts in no time. You always have to be concerned about your inner state. Your goal is always to change the inner self. The 3D does not matter, what you feel internally matters. Talk to everyone the way you want them to show up in your reality, as others only echo what we whisper to them in secret. These inner conversations are impacting you deeply. They are a very powerful tool and can change states very easily. Just remember a time when a friend behaved rudely toward you. Afterwards, you were so involved with getting even with them, talking back to them in your mind, that you just lost a sense of your external world. It was like you are in that moment telling them that what they did was very rude and whatnot. You were so lost in that conversation that you forgot where you were and what you were doing. I hope you are getting what I am saying. Like this, inner conversations can work positively for you. They are so powerful, and they remove every obstacle that you face while manifesting. The majority of the people in the manifesting community are thinking about their desires. They are thinking every day that they will change their specific person. They think that their specific person will come to them someday. They have been told countless number of times that they have to think from the state of having their desire. The next question that pops up in their minds is, how can I think about it when I don't have it physically? This question is the major block that is keeping them away from their desire. Neville has told you again and again that you have to change your internal world, regardless of the external circumstances. You can think from the state of having your desire. That is the whole game of manifestation. The one who is successful at doing it becomes the master player in the game of manifestation. So, just tell me, when you were in high school, didn't you think about how your college life would be even though you were physically in high school? Or, when you had your first crush, didn't you imagine holding their hands and kissing them when they were not physically present? You did all of that. Now, what is stopping you from doing it? Your reply would be, but they said they didn't want to see me. Whatever they are saying, those are not the words from God. Those are not the words that will remain a fact. They will change. They don't want to see you. Cool, don't go around them physically. Just go near them imaginatively and mentally talk to them as your lover. Let me make it simple for you. Suppose your specific person is now your partner. This is a fact. They are your partner now. Just think of this place. Just keep in mind that they are your partner, and now think from that place. Your conversations would be way different. Let me give you an example. Imagine a person named Liam. I will present Liam in two scenarios. In the first scenario, Liam has a crush on Katie, and he wanted to take her on a date. Imagine what Liam would do. What would his words be? How would he feel when asking Katie out? Liam might ask, "Katie, what are you doing this week?" Then Liam might wait for Katie's response. If she responds, "Nothing much," then Liam presented his offer of taking Katie out on a lunch date. Now, Katie responds, "Cool, I will be there," and they both went to date. Imagine how Liam would feel when asking out Katie. You know that feeling. You know that Liam was asking for Katie's confirmation. You know Liam's heartbeat changed while asking Katie out. Now imagine a second scenario where Liam and Katie are in a relationship, and Liam wants to go to lunch with Katie. Now, what would Liam do? If I were Liam, I would drive straight to Katie's home and take Katie with me to the lunch date. I would be confident that she would come with me, and Katie would be more attracted to me now that I was leading her, as I know she is a human and she likes to be pampered with food in the afternoon of a weekend. Many women have confirmed that they like it when their man leads. Ladies, tell me, is it true in the comments section? Now, the energy of Liam would be totally different than in the first scenario. You can feel it too, and you know it too. You get my point. The second scenario that I presented to you is thinking from the end of having the relationship. This is what thinking from the perspective of having your desires looks like. The feeling that second scene would give would be way different. Now there are infinite scenes and infinite conversations that you can have with your specific person from the premise of having a relationship. Many people do it successfully, and you can do it too. There is a video of a success story where a person manifested behavioral change from their specific person in just one day. Check it out by clicking on the first video that appears on the end screen. Happy manifesting!